Liza Lucas continues our coverage now from the 11 Alive Bridge. Liza, what are people saying online about the president's possible return tomorrow?
Well, as you can imagine, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of public debate, as we often see when it comes to the president, but a lot of questions, too, about the quarantine period, whether the president is still contagious. And we're going to go through some of those questions. In the meantime, as a reminder, the president hasn't been seen in public since his return to the hospital, with the exception of videos like these that have been released on his Twitter feed. You can see them produced right there. They've been shared throughout the course of the week. Now, also last night, a few details released from the president's physician, Dr. Sean Connolly, and laid out his vital signs. And Connolly basically said that the president is responding extremely well to treatment, and he does anticipate that he will be back returning to public engagements on Saturday. So, of course, we'll be watching and waiting to see if a rally is indeed planned and unfolds. But in the meantime, some of the conversation that is happening on our 11 Alive Facebook page, where we're getting comments in by the minute this morning. Marlene saying, something that the timing just seems wrong with this. Others like Dana says, well, not everybody responds to sickness, to COVID the same way. And he does have a sign off from his doctor. And others talking about the 14-day quarantine period that we hear so much about. And in that regards, the CDC and experts say it is about 10 days after someone is first diagnosed until they're thought to be reliably no longer contagious. So a little clarification on that front, but let us know what you think. Use that hashtag MorningRushATL.